Twin Cities, it's your good friend, it's your pal, it's your compadre. It's TC, everybody. How you doing? What's going on the big show today? Well, it is February 23rd, 2012. Getting a late start here, but, hey, you got to do my job. Vince Lombardi would say, do my job. And my inspirations are Mr. Tim Tiblebits from MajorGeeks.com and Mr. Vince Lombardi from the Packers. Just got to show up and do your job. So, anyways, what's going on the big show today? Well, of course, the show, if you don't know, is 3 parts. It's always my journey, because I don't know what the show is going to become. I'm just doing it because I kind of loved doing it. When I first started doing radio, I went to Brown and for radio, television, broadcasting. Definitely more of a radio guy than a TV guy. And then did a podcast back in the late 90s, and that was very fun to do. Had some immediate success with that. So, and this, I'm kind of pacing myself, I just want to kind of get in the habit of doing it. So, having some fun with it. So, the first part of the show is always about my journey, where I'm at, what I'm thinking. Am I angry, bitter, scared? Am I happy, sad? Am I elated? Am I danceable? Whatever you want. Am I all hepped up on Pepsi? Well, maybe. So, first part, we'll talk a little bit about how I'm doing there. I'm trying to hire a new programmer for GenCatGames.com, the company that I own and operate. And, that's, hopefully I'm getting close to finding somebody good. So, yeah, that's what I got going on there. Also, a little Twin Cities talk. The second part of the show is always Twin Cities talk. There's a lot of topics we can talk about there. A lot of stuff going on there, including a little DaVanni's talk. I went to DaVanni's over in Eagan for lunch today with a friend of mine, and it was pretty good. Could have used a couple more toppings on my pizza, but that was my friend's doing because he just went solo, baby. He went pepperoni. Thinking, we need a little mushroom or sausage or onion on it. So next time I pick where we're going. So I'm thinking about going to La Fonda over there in Eagan as well, since that's kind of where his job is near, and it's easier for me to go see him than it is for me to see him to see me, as far as traveling long distances. Otherwise, we'd be going to Donatelli's and White Bear. So anyways, a lot of Twin Cities talk today. And then first customer. What in the world is first customer? That's always the final part of the show. I'd hope eventually it may be the only part of the show. We'll see. But first customer is, I want to be your first customer. Do you got a crappy job? Are you thinking about starting your own business? I want to be your first customer. Are you on disability, Social Security, unemployment, welfare? I want to be your first customer. So we'll talk a little first customer coming up at the end of the show. So that's what's going on today. Of course, if you want to email me, you can get a hold of me by shooting me an email at tc@heytc.com. Now, how do you spell TC? You spell it just like you'd spell Twin Cities, TC. And then, of course, HeyTC, HeyTC.com. Nice short domain name, 5 characters. Pretty good. Not too shabby. I don't know if there's 1 character domains. There probably is. Let me actually try that right here on the fly. I'll go to a.com. No, I went to Amazon. That's not what I wanted to do, Google Chrome. I just want to go to a.com. And a.com is nothing. All right, let's try. This is really bad radio, or bad podcasting, no doubt. B.com? No. I don't think so. I don't know. I know there's a bn.com because BN is Barnes & Noble, I believe, right? So, I don't know. Maybe they don't allow single character domains. I guess I could try 1.com as well. No, not 1and1.com, but 1. Damn you, Google. Oh my God, this is horrible. All right, this is death, so I'm going to move on. Doesn't look like 1 works either, so. All right, back to my notes. So, let's kick it off. My journey. What's going on with me? Well, as I mentioned, trying to hire a new programmer. One of the challenges of running your own business is hiring the right people. The gentleman I had lunch with today was actually the original programmer on GenCatGames.com. Great guy. Oops, sorry, hit the mic. Great guy. And but because, you run a business, sometimes things don't work out like they should. He had to go find a different job, and he did, and he's very successful, great programmer. Would love to have him back, but maybe it's just not a fit anymore. Anyways, so looking to hire a new guy, talking to a guy. I like the idea of not working with boutiques when you're hiring a programmer. That's what I found. If you're hiring like a company to do your programming, you're going to get reamed as far as, when they're on the clock. Whether it's $100 an hour or whether it's $150 an hour, you're probably getting billed for not only the project manager, you might be getting billed for QA as well, and the programmer. So you may have 2 or 3 people going at once, and all of a sudden you're looking at a $300 an hour project. And oh boy, that's not for me. So, talk to a guy in another part of the country. I don't mind people virtually working from home as long as you're productive, baby. So hopefully something will work out there. We'll see how that goes. I'm optimistic, but guarded, because it takes hiring the right person is a difficult task, and you got to make sure your kind of mentality and the way you think and the way you run a business jives with the person that you're working with. So it's been a challenge, but I have nothing more to say on that. So there you go. Hey, I had this weird dream last night. I got to tell you about this. I dreamt that there was a Skype update. They went from like 9.8 or whatever. I don't even know what version of Skype is there is these days. Of course, if you don't know what Skype is, it's it's kind of an online chat program, but you can also kind of use a video camera and talk to like your friends and family or whomever you want over the internet. Well, I had the dream that they went from 9.8 or whatever to a new version, 10.0, 10.1, I guess it was in my dream. And as it started to roll out, some hackers figured out that they could, somehow intercept the Skype update and put in some malicious code. This is what I dream, apparently. I'm insane. Clearly. This is my journey from sanity to insanity back to sanity, perhaps. And so anyways, what happened is that Skype rolls out this update, the malicious code gets put in by these programmers, and it takes down the internet, all of the internet. And I'm thinking, well, you gotta have like Apple and Google and all these companies like Amazon working on trying to figure out a fix. But in my dream, nobody could figure out a fix. And I'm thinking these moron hackers who broke into the source code for Skype and ended up taking down the internet have kind of taken away their business as well, right? I guess this is one of the things I worry about is, running a company that's based off of the internet. What happens if, the internet goes down? But I'm a small beans company when you compare me to, say, Microsoft or, Amazon or eBay or, Google, who've invested, billions, maybe coming up on trillions of dollars into the internet. And if something went wrong, I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't let anything go wrong. So, and what I love about the internet too is that it's open source. I can tell you one of the things I've learned from working in this space. I did an iPhone game. We did an iPhone game that we launched last year. I hated it. Nothing against Apple. I use their products. But when you build something on top of somebody else's product, whether it's Facebook or iPhone or Google Android's phones, when you're building on top of their products, they can change the rules on you. Without any, if Apple decides, well, we don't want any companies that have games in their name to participate in our offerings. Well, they can do that because they own it. As where the internet is kind of free reign for all. The only people that could possibly screw up the internet are the people located in Washington, D.C. Now, granted, they've tried to do it. They're trying to get their mealy hands in there. The states are trying to get their mealy hands in there with sales tax and all kinds of other crap. And granted, eventually the internet will probably lose some of its liberty and rights that it offers us because government will, how can we get on this? How can we make money from this? How can we become more powerful? But don't get me started on a rant, because I won't get started on a rant about how scumbags, all, 537 people in Washington, and let alone the states are when it comes to anything with our liberty. So I'm a big fan of liberty, baby. Look it up if you don't know what it means. So, but I'm hoping you do, because liberty is a good thing. So there you go. What else is going on in my journey? Been eating bad. it's a hard road to get off that case of eating bad. It's been a tough one. I need to right that ship, and it's really hard. I know Jennifer's trying to help right that ship for us, and I haven't gotten there, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I need help. I don't know what help I need. I don't know where I can get it, but I guess I just got to suck it up and do it, right? We'll see. So it's tough. It's really tough. You may have my bad habit. When I get stressed out, I eat. Maybe your habit is that you eat your nails or whatever. You keep eating your hand, you're not going to be hungry for lunch, to quote John Bender from the Breakfast Club. But some people shop, some people drink, some people have illicit sex, some people, buy shoes, some people, there's all kinds of, stuff that we do when we get stressed out, and, unfortunately mine is eating. Other than that, I'm pretty much perfect, clearly, as you can hear from the show, right? Anyway, whatever. Finally, one thing I want to acknowledge is my uncle Warren passed away about 19 years ago, coming up on February 24th, which is Friday. And growing up, he was basically a father to me, because the sperm donor at the time of conception kind of really wasn't around. He was not a very good guy, and I haven't heard from him in 35 years or whatever it's been. I forget now. 30 years at least. And it is what it is. You move on. Maybe I have daddy issues. It's a dad issue. It couldn't be father from the truth. Little Austin Powers there, sorry. So, my Uncle Warren was like a father to me, just like my Uncle Floyd, who's still alive, 93 years old now, I think he is now, and was in World War II, 4 years in the Pacific, that hellhole there. I can only imagine what he's seen. He's never talked about it. Most gentle guy ever. Anyways, his compadre was always my Uncle Warren. Anyways, my Uncle Warren passed away 19 years ago at the VA down there in Minneapolis. I've always wanted to go back to the VA. I feel that there's something still... I can maybe get closure myself if I go back there and go to the floor that he was on when he passed away from aspergillus, which is kind of a filling of the lungs that occurs. And he was a guy that always had heart problems. There's a history of heart problems in the family. He had a heart transplant in 85, lived to 93. So anyways, he's missed, and I don't know why I'm mentioning it, but like I said, this is my journey, and maybe it's... Maybe there can be something good that comes out of it. I know the internet is a bastion of a-holes and douchebags, but hey, we're not all a-holes and douchebags, right? Some of us are good people. It's just the bad ones that kind of present themselves all over the internet. So I know I have my moments where I'm an a-hole and a douchebag. So you can, if you can put that past you and know that I am real and I am loyal to people and I do care about people, I guess that's the important thing, right? So anyways, I don't know what I'm doing, man. I've said too much. I feel like I've just opened up my soul, and maybe nobody will ever hear this, though. So I got that going for me. It's like talking to a shrink without actually having to pay the, $175 an hour or whatever it is. So anyways, all right, let's get to some Twin Cities talk, baby. Of course, some of the big news that came out over the last couple of days here in the Twin Cities was that Michele Bachmann is out of the Stillwater area. So she is, I guess, my congressman up until congresswoman, congressman, congressperson, whatever you want to say. Michele Bachmann, my congresswoman, up until, I guess, the election this year. And then once the election kicks in, and if she wins, she'll be the congresswoman for kind of the northern part of the Twin Cities and then up into St. Cloud, it looks like. I think that's what it's going to be. And the new congresswoman for the Stillwater area, Lake Elmo, where I reside, here on the east side of the Twin Cities, baby, is now Betty McCollum, I think it is. It's not Betsy, is it? I don't know. Anyways, all I know is that apparently I read that she's opposed to building the St. Croix Bridge. So obviously I don't support her, because the bridge over the St. Croix in Stillwater there is something that's desperately needed. They're actually closing the Stillwater Bridge, I believe, for 4 months later this summer. And so everybody's going to have to go around through Hudson, because I have family out in New Richmond, Wisconsin. So it's kind of a big pain in the butt. It's these environmental jackals that keep blocking the damn bridge. The Sierra Club, in my mind, can go straight to hell. They're up there with lawyers and politicians. These environmentalists who want to prevent, the forging of America and the world. So I have no respect for any of these kind of people. I love nature. I breathe in nature. No, wait, I'm sorry. Now, if the Sierra Club or an environmentalist heard me saying that, they would paint it this way: that I want children and old people to die from smog and smoke, and I want oil in the rivers and out of our taps. Yeah, clearly that's what I want. Apers, creepers, you're a bunch of drama queens. I want a beautiful environment like we have along the St. Croix, but I also want to move forward. I don't want to live in mud huts. And if you want to live in a mud hut, you go live in a mud hut. USOB. That's what I think of that. So anyway, so Betsy McCollum, or whatever her name is, Betty McCollum, the new congresswoman for me starting in the fall. I don't know much about her. I'll have to investigate. I think she's a Democrat, as where Bachmann was a Republican. So in the end, trust me, they're all cut from the same fabric. Though I do like Michele Bachmann for one reason, and one reason alone, is that she has taken in so many foster kids. I think that's a very noble thing for someone to do, and I appreciate that, reaching out and helping children. So I think that's a great thing. But like I said, I don't know anything about Betsy McCollum, Betty McCollum, whatever her name is. Maybe she's a wonderful woman as well when it comes to that kind of stuff, but she is a politician, and so is Michele Bachmann for that matter. I do see that Mark Dayton, our governor, has come out and said that there's now a deadline. I think it's March something, to get funding from Congress passed to build the bridge over the St. Croix here in Stillwater. So hopefully that'll come to pass. I like the idea of setting a deadline for it. Mark Dayton's thoughts is that, you need to set a deadline for it. Otherwise, we're going to spend the money somewhere else. I hope it's not a political move but then again, everything is kind of a political move when it comes to these politicians. So hopefully the funding will come from Congress, because I think it's a piece of infrastructure that the east side of the Twin Cities could greatly benefit from, and I know I would personally benefit from it. But I also know that, since they're pissing away so much money in Washington, I might as well get some sort of return on my investment. And if I can ask for anything, it should be a bridge. They've been looking to try to build that damn bridge for 20 years now. It's insane. It's just complete insanity. So, all right, I'll get off that topic. DaVanni's, yes, DaVanni's for lunch. I've been to the DaVanni's in Roseville, of course, a Minnesota-based company. Gotta give them some love. I've been to the DaVanni's in Woodbury, which I was not fond of. I had a bad experience there. Been to the one on Cleveland Avenue and something over by Hamlin or somewhere. That was a good DaVanni's. I like that DaVanni's, except the parking there is insane. It's ridiculous. And then today we went to the one in Eagan, and it wasn't very busy for lunch. We were there 11:30 to 1, and there was hardly anybody in there, I swear. The pizza was good. I wish Eric, my buddy who I had lunch with, would have ordered a little bit of sausage or mushroom or onions, but I gave him the option, so I should hardly complain about that, right? No, that would be the wrong thing to do. Don't you think? Anyway, so DaVanni's a good restaurant. Not my favorite pizza ever. I'm a big fan of Randy's Pizza over in Oakdale on 36 and Century Avenue. So check that out. Randy's Premier Pizza. Very, very good pizza. So especially if Randy himself is working or Darcy Chambers is working. There's this girl in there who looks like Darcy Chambers, which is a woman I've never met, that Jennifer once worked with at the Pizza Factory in Arizona. So back in like the 80s. Anyway, so if Darcy Chambers is working, you don't know what she looks like, or Randy is working, you can probably find a picture of Randy because it's his store. Or Randy's wife, actually, for that matter. If they're working, boom, bada bing, bada bing, bada bang, sucker. Very good, very good. That's probably my favorite pizza. In all of the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, you know. Hey, speaking of that, Talking to a guy from, I probably can say this, right? Talking to a guy from Atari today. Turns out he's a Golden Valley boy, now working for Atari in New York. Very nice, very nice. It all comes back right there. It's just everything coming together. A couple of sports notes here. How are we doing on time? We're not doing too bad, baby girl. We're going to rock this right on up to the 30-minute mark, like we do every Monday and Thursday here at HeyTC.com, or, of course, on YouTube at, whatever channel it is, HeyTC 88 or something like that. I don't know. TC Bobo 88? I don't know. I got to change that or something. And eventually, if I keep doing the show, once I get about 12 to 20 shows in, I'll launch the podcast. Then you'll be able to listen via the podcast if you like, and I hope you like. So a couple of sports notes. Spring training, of course, now underway. It looks like Morneau reported today in Florida. And then also Nishioka showed up. Nobody's talked about Nishioka. Went to Twins Fest here back in, January? No sign of my boy, Tyoshi Nishioka. I was very disappointed. I was hoping to get my picture taken with Nishioka. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Nishioka this year, because it's my opinion that if he doesn't develop at all this year, and he kind of said that in an article that I just read at thestartribune.com, that, I'm guessing he's going to head back to Japan. The Twins will either go to Nishioka and say, hey, you got, 1 year left on your 3-year contract. We'll give you $500,000 to go back to Japan, and he'll say, yes, I'll take it. Or Nishioka will go to the Twins and say, hey, how about you give me $500,000 and I'll go back to Japan, and the Twins will say, yes, we'll take it. So, we had high hopes last year for Nishioka to be something, Nishi, and ended up being Ishii instead of Nishi. So hopefully this year something will come of it, and hopefully he'll have a little less pressure, and maybe he'll develop into Kaz Matsui. I don't think he's ever going to develop into Hideki Matsui, or, God forbid, Ichiro Suzuki. But I don't know. We'll see. But it ain't looking good, and I think by the end of the year he'll be packing his bags to go back to the Yoki Moosemen team, or whatever some of the team names are over there in Japan. So, speaking of Japanese players, it'll be interesting to see how that Yu Darvish does for the Rangers. The Rangers signed him. Looking forward to finally seeing him in action. That should be fun to see the Rangers. How about them Timberwolves last night beating the Jazz? What's interesting about the Timberwolves, on Monday night they played just horrible against the Nuggets and somehow came back, tied the game, and went to overtime, and then decided to play horrible again. I don't understand this team. I don't get it at all. And then, of course, last night at the Target Center, the Jazz come to town, and it looks like it's just going to be a blowout. They're just horrible. Horrible team like they were last year. And then all of a sudden the fourth quarter comes and it's like, well, maybe we should play. And then, of course, it was Cool Hand Luke Rittenauer with the rolling jumper, the whatever it is, the teardrop, I guess they call it. And it goes in. And I'm just like, oh, my God, I can't believe they came back and won it. 17-17 now at the All-Star break. They have 32 games to go. I figure if they want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to probably go 19-13. I was looking at the schedule for the Timberwolves. Man, they got it hard coming out of the All-Star break. Next Tuesday night, they're in Los Angeles to play the Clippers. Wednesday night, they're in Los Angeles to play the Lakers. Thursday night, they're in Phoenix to play the Suns. And they're off on Friday rather. And then on Saturday, they go to Portland to play the Trailblazers. Now, looking at that, I would hope that the Timberwolves could possibly go 2-2. If they go 0-4 out of the All-Star break, that's going to be hard for them to make up. I mean, if 1-3 they can probably recover from, 2-2 would be great. 3-1 would be amazing. If they go 0-4, baby, oh, man, maybe not this year. Ricky Rubio, he seems to have regressed a little bit. Or here's what I think about the Timberwolves. I think maybe that the scouting report now is out on the Timberwolves, so it'll be interesting to see how Rick Adelman can kind of adjust. He seems to be able to do that in the game because as soon as the Timberwolves come out, they're getting smoked usually in every game. Well, then boom, Adelman makes some adjustments, and then the Timberwolves are able to come back. So, but yeah, really impressed with Rick Adelman as a coach, and hopefully the Timberwolves can make the playoffs. They probably end up playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I think they could probably win one game. They might be able to surprise and win one game, but I don't think they'd be able to beat the Thunder because that team is good, man. Kevin Durant and Brian Westbrook, and then their center. Wow. I got some serious talent on that team. And that Westbrook kid, boy, that guy's got a huge chip on his shoulder. So it would be good to see the Timberwolves, if they did make the playoffs as the number 8 seed, play the Thunder and knock them off just to see Brian Westbrook's or Russell Westbrook's reaction, since that guy has such a huge chip on his shoulder. What else is going on? One last thing today before we get to first customer. I showed up, of course, with I got a new iPhone. I've had the iPhone 3GS for nearly about 2.5 years, maybe a little longer. I finally last month decided to upgrade to the iPhone 4S, and I got it in white. And when I showed up to DaVanni's today, Eric noticed immediately that I had it in white, and I said, "Wow, I'm getting the Top Gun tattooed on my ass after the DaVanni's trip." So doesn't that kind of explain things? After all, wasn't Minnesota the gayest, or Minneapolis the gayest city in America not more than a year ago? See? Anyways, I don't know. I went with white because, I don't know, I was just sick of having the black phone, I guess. I'd had the black phone for a while. It's like the Black Album from Spinal Tap or Metallica. And I just decided to go with the Beatles' White Album, though I'm not a really big fan of the Beatles. I was more of an Elvis guy than a Beatles guy on that one. So, anyways, I guess the moral of the story is I got a new iPhone, and it does run really fast. I ended up ordering a Kindle Fire when they first came out. Since I've gotten the new iPhone, I've hardly used the Kindle Fire. I went to Gazelle.com just to see what they'd pay me for it, because I bought it for $200. They'd give me like $65 now. So I don't know if that really is holding the value. I did sell my iPhone 3GS, though, to, Gazelle.com, where you can turn in electronics and stuff. They bought it for $97. Not too shabby, I said. Not too shabby. All right, only a couple minutes left. Let's get to first customer. My moral of the story here today is, well, let me first say, the point of first customer is I want to be your first customer. I don't care if you're a baker, if you're a mechanic, if you build ducks or ponds or, well, whatever, outdoor furniture, indoor furniture, anything, you know what your passion is. What do you love to do? Well, start a business around it. That's what I'm doing, right? I love to do a little podcast, love to do a little show. So that's kind of what I'm starting a business around, and I want to help you, If, shoot me an email at tc@heytc.com, and, I'll be your first customer. I can't assure you that I can afford your services. If you're building, $100,000 hot rods, I can't afford that, but I can certainly get the word out on the website at heytc.com, and I'd be happy to mention you on the show as well. So you got nothing to lose, right? You just got to take that step forward and do it. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm not going to respond. Of course I'm going to respond, because I'm in the early stages of the game here. Nobody's emailing me. I haven't heard from anybody, which is the way I expect it to be, and that's fine because I'm still trying to find my groove. Anyways, today on the way over to DaVanni's in Eagan, I was listening to Bill Maher on the Adam Carolla show. Big fan of Adam Carolla. I like him, and I'm not a big fan of Bill Maher. I really don't like him. Not politically, just he kind of comes off as kind of and maybe that's the whole point of his act. He kind of comes off as just this gigantic jerk. But one of the things that Bill Maher and Adam Carolla were talking about was, when Bill Maher was in the early days of playing his, trying to be a comic, he's going to the comic clubs, sometimes, he's going on as the last guy and there's only like one or two people left. And I thought, that's something. You can always learn something from somebody. And God forbid I learned something from Bill Maher today, but I did, because, hey, maybe there's only one or two people. Maybe there's nobody listening to this show right now. No, maybe no one will ever hear these words uttered. Is that uttered? Is that a word? I think that's a word. I think it sounded like I said a different word, but I meant to say uttered, and that's what I said. Anyway, so it made me think, hey, a guy like Bill Maher, who is one of these guys, you got to give him credit. He's showing up, and he's done the job, and he's done it every day, or every week in his case, with his little show on HBO. So, hearing him say that, back in those days, he'd be playing to one or two people in the comedy clubs was kind of interesting. I liked it, so I learned a little something there. So that really doesn't relate to, that's more my journey, but, hey, that's the way it always is. I guess I'm trying to give you a moral of the story. Even if I'm your first customer, doesn't mean it might take 6 weeks. It might take, 6 days to get your next customer, but you never know what happens. So anyways, and then of course I hope to build out the website a little bit more once we start, once the time comes when somebody finally does email me and say, hey, TC, I'd like you to be my first customer. And I say, boom, yes, let me get you on the website so you get a little more exposure, and let me get you mentioned in the show here, the podcast. So there you go. All right, let's put this show in the book, baby. February 23rd, 2012 is in the book. It's your good friend, it's your pal, it's your compadre, it's TC, everybody. And I will see you in the emergency room. Emergency room. I don't know what that was, but anyways, see you in the emergency room.